What's up, man? You have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was a decent Thanksgiving, so it was. I didn't really go overboard.
Yeah.
I did well plan. I know that's going to be one of our topics,
Okay,
so
nice. So yeah, all three of us that are going to be on the show here will have had that same exact experience. Okay.
yeah. But and then clients, I told clients to go enjoy themselves if they felt like it. They all
Hmm.
did because what I do is whenever I have an off plan coming up, I just take one of my meals. Like it's normally meal three sodas, and I
Hmm.
just completely get rid of it and transfer the protein over to that
Yeah.
off plan meal, and that usually balances out.
Well,
So
you do 5 meals a day, don't you?
yeah,
So each one of your individual meals is going to be a bit larger. So yeah, that makes sense. And if you were to cut out 2 meals that day, that would absolutely make up for it. With me doing 7 a day on training days, the individual meals themselves are a bit smaller. It's just
yeah,
200 grams of meat, 275 rice, 100 vegetable. So nothing crazy. I mean, to me, that's a pretty small amount of food. What is
for you,
a
yeah,
yeah? What is a like a normal size meal for you look like right now?
about
Oh,
that.
and mind you, when I was on my last growth phase, it was 200 meat, 300 rice, 15 grams of honey, 4 rice cakes, and 100 grams of vegetables.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was
Oh,
a bit more volume. I actually enjoyed the rice cakes and the honey quite a bit. That was my first time ever doing that, like outside of peak week for show, having rice cakes regularly in the diet.
yeah. No, yeah, my meals that's about the same as where mine are at right now. No, I weigh my rice raw, so I do. It's normally
Hmm.
about like 60 grams of
You
rice per
know,
meal.
I basically kind of do that now too because I've started cooking my rice every day in batches,
Okay.
just because I
Gotcha.
wanted to be fresher and taste better. Um, so I'm not necessarily I'm still weighing it out cooked, but I'm using the same exact amount of rice every single day, whether it be dry or actually cooked. So for me right now to get 275 for my, I think it's 4 rice meals, something like that. I need 375 grams of rice, and then I need 750 for liquid, and that gives me the amount of rice I need for the day. So technically,
Okay.
I'm kind of weighing it raw now as well.
That's good. Yeah, that's it's kind of like what. So each meal for me right now is just about 60 grams of rice. So if you were to do that and
Mm.
cooked, come out to what 6 times 3 equals? I guess you could say 200.
Oh,
Just
okay.
just under
I didn't know it
thereabouts.
swelled up by 3. That's good to know.
Yeah, you're supposed to multiply it by three, and then for
Okay.
chicken breasts, I think it's you're supposed to do like 1.20. So like a raw chicken breast,
Hmm.
the or cooked the so if you cook your chicken breast, the equivalent of that in raw weight is supposed to be 1.25 like multiplied by it. So
Hmm.
if it's like 8 ounces of raw chicken breast, multiply that. I mean, 8 ounces of cooked chicken breast, multiply that by 1.25.
Hmm.
That's supposed to be the raw equivalent, but
Yeah.
I don't.
So with
I
rice,
don't remember.
everything you're saying there makes sense, right? Because there's no real, unless you're buying, even then, if you're buying a different brand of rice each time, I'd argue it's still probably the same for the most part.
Did I say right?
What's that?
Did I say rice? I was talking about chicken.
Yeah, I'm getting into that. I'm just saying,
Okay.
like for rice, I get where you're coming from, but
Yeah.
with meats, the thing that would throw me off about weighing it raw is, first of all, since we now, if you live in Europe, like the EU or Britain, I don't know
Yeah.
if they're technically in the EU anymore, but specifically British guys, I've heard say this. The way their Food and Drug Administration works, or whatever they call it, RFDA, they're not allowed to get away with nearly as much as we are here in the US. So like we can juice our chicken up with like 60% saline and shit like
Yeah.
that. Whereas over there they can't really do that to a degree. I'm sure they still do. It's just not nearly as egregious as our system. So for people over there, I can understand weighing raw a bit more when it comes to meat. But with us, I feel like our food producers just fuck around too much for us to do that.
Yeah. I agree. So I do. I had a coach that was I think he's Ireland or whatever, and he told me to weigh my stuff raw. The whole entire conversion thing, I got that from John Jewett, so I did. But
Okay.
he weighs all his chicken breasts cooked as
That's what I was
well.
about to say because I thought he did his cooked. Yeah.
Yeah, I do mine cooked as well. So I do. I think all Americans, for the most part, do it cooked. But
Yeah.
if you watch the guys that are in the UK or whatever, they tend to do it raw. But
Yeah.
yeah,
For the
so
most, yeah. Other than that, I think the only other thing that I would weigh raw is probably potatoes, just because you're
potatoes.
cooking
Yeah,
out the moisture.
potatoes and like, I mean, I guess
And anything you add water to, like, cream of rice, oatmeal, stuff like that.
Yeah, I can't imagine weighing out oatmeal cooked.
That'd be so weird. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny though how like with certain things are normal like that, and then the other like with chicken that's crazy, but with oatmeal it's not. There's a rhyme and a reason for it, but
Well, yeah, I mean, you're gonna try prep. What are you gonna do with oatmeal? You're gonna put it in the fridge and then take it out and heat it back up. I think there's a type of fiber in oatmeal that whenever it cools down and it's been like reheated or something, it actually messes. It's supposed to be bad for your microbiome in your gut or something like. I remember hearing that a couple years ago.
I
So
didn't know that. That's interesting. I'm typically barred off from doing oatmeal for the most part, anyways, just because the amount I would need is so high. Like I would need to do. Actually, I think the carbs, or I know the calories are. I'm not sure about the carbs, but I think cream of rice and oatmeal is a pretty 1-to-1 ratio. So I would need to be doing like 140, 150 grams of oatmeal in a sitting. That would not be good on the stomach.
it can differ a little bit. I think whenever I remember, I think about 100 grams of rice for me. Whenever if I remember, because I don't really use the tracker right now. I just have my meals and add and take away as I need to. But whenever it was 100 grams of rice, I remember seeing it like 333 calories or something like that. And then whenever it was 100 grams of oatmeal, is about like a 50-calorie difference. So it's not a ton, but of course, the higher that amount gets,
well, oatmeal has fat and stuff in it as well, so we got to take that into account.
Yeah. So, but. Yeah,
it's just interesting. We have these little quirks between countries and regions and stuff like that. Like, I'm sure even here on the eastern side, and then I guess Dan is technically still on the eastern side, maybe a little bit more towards the middle of the country. But I'm curious to hear about how the differences are between we do things versus on the West Coast. I'm sure there's all sorts of different little weird things we all do habit wise.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you go down to Florida. Florida's on the East Coast, but they're like their own little country, so they are, to be honest. It's their own little so yeah. But
so what's your baseline diet looking right now?
The baseline, I mean, I can name it out to you pretty quickly. I can't name out the macros and calories because I don't know them. I know protein's really high, so
nice.
Carbs are about moderate. Fat is pretty low, so it is. So meal number one is a whole entire carton of egg whites, one of the small ones. I think it's 10 servings. It's 50 grams of protein from that. 2 whole eggs. Then I have about 125 grams of cabbage that I pan fry. I like cabbage, so it's going to be pretty consistent. And it's about 50 grams of rice. So it is with a handful of blueberries. I don't really weigh them out, just like throw them on there. And then about 120 milliliters of Fairlife because I like calcium and everything in my diet. I have a good amount of variety.
Yeah, you got that young man stomach.
Yeah,
I couldn't do the milk personally.
I try to hit all my micronutrients.
That's fair.
Vitamin A, vitamin C, everything like that, calcium, potassium, magnesium. But moving on from that, meals 2 through 4 are pretty much the same. So they are, except for 4. 4, there's an increase in cream of rice for 4 because that's pre-workout. But 2 and 3 are again about 60 grams of rice. I do 8 ounces of chicken cooked, and then about again that 125 grams of cabbage.
Okay.
And then so that's 2 and 3. Then 4 is the same thing again. I also have blueberries with 4, but 4 goes up to about 70 grams of cream of rice.
Frozen or fresh, by the way, on the fruit? Frozen or
frozen.
Fresh? Yeah, frozen. That's how you do it.
Yeah, frozen. And then final meal, I have a creamy, which is just a
same
1 scoop of protein, 240 milliliters almond milk, a little bit of soy-free pudding in there. And then I have 4 ounces of cooked beef, 4 ounces of cooked chicken. I like to have at least a little bit of beef in my meal in my diet, so I do.
That's interesting.
Again with the cabbage, then about 100 grams of carrots, 100 grams of bell pepper, some onions, some mushroom. I just kind of like throw a whole bunch of veggies in there for that last one. Nice. And then about 50 grams of cream of rice again, and a little bit of peanut butter. So about 10 grams of peanut butter in that last meal, and also there's peanut butter in the first meal that I forgot to mention as well. Wow. So
you've got like 12 different ingredients in that meal. That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I get a lot of iron. It stays the same, but it's Daniel knows I've always had a lot of variety in my diet, so I have. So.
He sent me over his diet plan one time, and I was like, "What is all this?"
Speaking of which, how you been, man? Good to see you.
I'm good. I'm good. Sorry it's taken me so long to get back on the
No,
pod, man.
it's fine, man. You have the busiest schedule out of literally anyone I've ever met, so it's all good.
Busy, and like I'm still trying to prioritize sleep, because like I technically, if I would just sacrifice sleep, I could be on here on time.
Oh no.
But the days I'm getting off work, I'm like, I need to get 7 or 8 hours because I'm getting 6 back to back at work.
Yeah, man. If you told me that like you were gonna do that, like you were gonna potentially like get 6 instead of 8 or something just to do the podcast, I would tell you, fuck no, you're going to sleep.
Fuck off.
Yeah, no, I will not let you do that to yourself. Never. I got 6.5 hours of sleep last night for the first time in like 5 months, or probably not that long. I'm exaggerating. A long time. I normally get 8 to 9 hours of sleep, sometimes 10 hours if it's like a weekend or something. I can do that. I got 6.5 last night, and man, I felt like shit for the first half of the day.
And see, in prep, I can do it. The energy's fine during prep, but
we're all hyped
no
up on
stimulants, growth hormone. It's just like, dude, yeah. I'm finally getting acclimated to that CPAP. Like I've had it most nights in a row where I'm wearing it 4 or 5, 6 hours, but I'm yanking it off at some point. But either way, I finally committed to the full face, like you had mentioned, and I upped the minimum pressure, and it's been fine.
I think when we talked about that, I somehow transferred my ease of use to you, because I swear to God, ever since we talked about it, I have not been able to wear that thing for more than 2-3 hours. I gave it to you.
Some nights it is an hour and a half, and I'll check it, and I'm just like, what? And then there's some nights where I don't even think it's recording properly, maybe because I'm on the night shift schedule. Yeah. But I'll have it on basically all night, and then I'll wake up and it'll say, "Oh, you only wore it for an hour and a half," and I'm like, "I wore it the whole night. What?" So, I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay. Air since 11.
Yeah, they're kind of funky sometimes with like if you have a weird sleep schedule or something, it can throw that off. Yeah, that's all that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about food, pretty much all things food.
That sounds like a common thing to talk about.
Yep. And we mentioned a little bit what we were doing for Thanksgiving. Turns out all 3 of us basically skipped out on the Thanksgiving food.
Oh, I didn't say that. No, I had food.
Oh, I thought you said you did.
Stevie did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. Because I thought you had said you did.
Hardcore like the rest of us, you know.
No, Steve just isn't mental like the rest of us.
Yeah. And see, the thing is like I got into that yesterday, and you saw that story I obviously posted, and I just put my opinion out there. I don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying. I don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying, but the problem that I face is that there are too many individuals who they will have every excuse every single time of the year. Oh, well, I have so-and-so's birthday coming up. Oh, I have the holiday coming. Like, at what point are you going to stop letting people around you dictate how you make decisions about yourself? If you make the decision, oh, I'm going to eat, cool, and you're not going to feel guilt over it. But if you feel like you're getting your hand forced because, well, everybody else is participating, it's like, if I'm going to jump off a bridge, then you need to jump off the bridge too. I don't know. Do it if you feel like you need it. I worked last night, not the best day to have to work, but you know what? I was getting good money. They brought us some barbecue, and I looked at it and I was like, man, it smells good. I was like, I could eat some. And I was like, I don't need it. Yeah. I don't need it. I'm good. I'm not like, the only time I'm feeling like that is like deep into prep and I'm food focused.
Yep.
If I'm not food focused, I can just eat my meals and be like, okay, I'm good. It doesn't, I don't know. And y'all obviously heard my audio recordings, but the thing that gets me the most, it's like we considered it disordered eating to eat single ingredient foods, which are considered legitimate food, while everybody else is eating 50 ingredient foods, saying, oh, we're the abnormal ones.
Yeah. We're the assholes for not wanting to clog our arteries with stuffing.
Yeah, because most of the shit at Thanksgiving is, quite frankly, it's not going to be good for you, man. Which is fine, because like I said, it's just one day.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I liked how you say it about getting your hand forced into it. If you feel like you're getting forced to eat something, you shouldn't be eating it.
Exactly.
You shouldn't want to. So that's what I said in the chat. Basically, is just do what you want to do. If you want to eat it, and as long as it's sacrificing your goals for it, and you're being honest with yourself, and
it's about knowing yourself.
You can have moderation.
Yes, it is about knowing yourself. If you can be moderate, go for it. Have a moderate meal. I don't do nothing half-ass. I don't do
moderate.
I whole hog. And when I
You
say
can call that
I'm-
disordered eating because I'm restricted, and then if I'm not restricted, I'm like, I'm gonna let the floodgates loose. And because I'm aware of that, I'm gonna choose not to put myself through that. Because you might say, and it could be that you go to Thanksgiving and you're moderate, you make sure not to eat too much, but then all those little sugary sweets that you eat and all that tasty food, all of a sudden you're gonna start thinking more food focused. And if they send you home with leftovers, I'm gonna eat again later, and then you're gonna feel like shit later. I used to have a problem if I ever ordered food out. I had to eat it all in one sitting because, like, for example, if I got a pizza, I don't want leftover pizza because then I feel like shit twice.
Yep, exactly. And
I know that doesn't make sense.
I've never been diagnosed with an eating disorder, but I can tell you I've had various levels of it my entire life. Like, I was a fat kid for a reason. That doesn't happen by accident, you know? Yeah. And I know how easy it is for me to slip back into familiarity. That last off season I had, I was strong, pretty hardcore. I was still taking weekly cheat meals, but I wasn't going crazy with them for about a year and a half straight. And then I'm telling you, for the last 6 months of there, I would have 2-3 cheat meals a week. It became, instead of my chicken and rice, I can go to the hibachi place and get takeout. No, that's fucking awful. And I know that's awful looking back at it. And I'm sure I've matured and grown as a man and as a bodybuilder since then. But I don't want to give myself a reason to potentially fall back into bad habits. There's no reason for it. Especially when I'm perfectly content eating the way I'm eating right now. I enjoy my food, like Dan said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like what you said about the habits there, because outside of it just being a mental thing of overindulging, I guess you could say, it's a mental thing of keeping a routine that you have set for yourself. And some people have to feel better if it makes your life and just everything feel better for the day, just sticking to what you've been sticking to, and it keeps you in routine. You feel better in the gym, and I mean, why would you go off your plan? That's something else to consider, because, I mean, you know, some people, they'll think about having, if I have a cheat meal, I'm keeping it clean. So I am. Like what I had for Thanksgiving, I just had like mashed potatoes, turkey, and some stuffing. So I did, and a small piece of pie. I'll be honest, small piece of pie. But that I knew that wasn't going to be anything that would negatively affect me. And also, I told you, I'm at a point right now to where whenever it comes to off plans, I'm able to kind of like navigate it to where it is still a routine for me, and it doesn't throw me off for the day. Because some people go into a cheat meal and they'll eat like Daniel said, half a pizza. So that's going to mess with the rest of the day. They're going to be sitting around doing nothing. They'll wake up the next day.
You won't even get your meals in because you'll be so stuffed from that food.
Yeah. Yep. And I've tried doing it that way. I've tried doing it your way and having measured cheat meals. But then honestly, what happens is I end up overdoing it. I make it too clean. I'll get a steak. I won't even get salt and pepper on that thing. You know, I'll just salt it myself. Yeah. Same thing with the potatoes. And it's like at that point, I'm not even enjoying it. So what is the point of this? I'm just going to stick to my diet food.
Yeah.
That's actually what me and Jordan came to an agreement on, because I got to miss Thanksgiving, or had to miss Thanksgiving. We're doing steak and potatoes this weekend, and I might, make it flavorful, right? But it's like, it's still going to be productive towards my goals. Mm-hmm. It's not going to make me wake up the next day and all of a sudden my fasting blood sugar is going to be elevated and I'm going to feel groggy and just lethargic. If anything, it's only going to be more calorie dense. It's going to be beneficial. Yeah, man, it's a weird, it's the same thing every single year, but I noticed it a lot more on social media.
I did.
It's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I honestly, in the past, I don't remember seeing this much like I guess you would call it.
It's rage bait. That's the term now. Yeah. It's rage bait. Rage bait, and I acknowledge that whenever I saw some of these people posting. But then at the same time, I'm seeing individuals who, like that guy who's an online coach. I'm like, if you have clients and they say, "Hey, coach, I just want to stick to the plan," well, you need to eat shit. Yeah. You shouldn't stick to the plan. I didn't tell you need to do that. Break a leg, literally. I just I read that and I just thought, like, what kind of coach says that to the people that they're coaching? Because they're following you. They're following what you're saying. And you're saying, I can't stand these people who are glorifying sticking to the plan. Well, why are we glorifying gluttony? Why are we glorifying needing fucking diabetic medication for most people in America? Because we're all obese.
Yep.
We glorify that and it's no fucking problem.
Yeah.
But
standards to galore.
Sticking to the plan is, So, I can get heated on that subject, but it's like, you know what? Everybody's going to do what they want to do. And like I said, I don't see anything wrong with it.
That's what it should all be about. Do what you want to do. Like, you shouldn't feel like you have to eat clean on Thanksgiving Day. Like, no, that's not what we're getting at. We're saying choice. Like, I think all three of us here are probably pretty libertarian when it comes to stuff like that. Live and let live.
I think the argument is the amount of food that's being made, and it's going to go to waste.
Give it to the homeless people. It's going to waste
to the homeless people or something.
For sure.
I don't know. Like, you want to sit here and complain about it? Donate the food.
Like, and the way we view waste is stupid because to me, if you are a 200-pound person who needs 3,000 calories in a day and you're eating 6,000 calories on Thanksgiving Day, that's a waste of food still.
Yeah. And
so it's waste no matter what.
Yeah, because you don't need it. You just overindulged.
Yeah.
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 And what you said there was, I think you said you want. So one of you guys said something about wanting to do it. So what I was going to say is, what was I going to say? You want to. Oh, that's right. I was going to say, someone looks at you and says, "Why don't you eat what you want on one of those days?" Or "Why don't you eat what you want to eat, what you truly want to eat?" And it's like, well, because you're sitting there with your meal prep. Because, back whenever I prepped, I remember going to Christmas dinner with my cabbage and chicken. The cabbage again. I'm always eting cabbage, but it was cabbage and chicken.
Turn into a cabbage.
Yeah, maybe. But I remember getting comments like that. Why don't you eat what you want to eat? And the response is, I am eating what I want to eat. This is what I want to eat because I goals that I want to achieve. So
yeah. And it's also about how you carry yourself, right? Like in the past, again, this is the first Thanksgiving that I've ever done this, but in the past, in other situations, like in a contest prep per se, where you are super food focused, I've been that guy who's kind of an asshole about things. Like if somebody offers me, like if it's just a random day or whatever, I've never really prepped around the holidays, but let's say it's like somebody's birthday party and I'm there to support them because, they're a friend and I want to be at their birthday party, but I don't want to eat a cupcake. And then somebody gives me shit about not wanting to eat a cupcake because I'm in the middle of a cut or a contest prep, right? I would
just
say it's
one
a little,
won't hurt, Anson. Just one won't hurt.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's always that fucking bullshit.
And I'd be lying if I said I didn't get a little heated, or not heated, a little agitated about that if I was in the middle of a contest.
You feel uncomfortable. You feel like you're being put on the spot.
Exactly.
Don't put me on the spot.
Yeah, but I can tell you this, in this situation with Thanksgiving, maybe just because of how much I've matured or how I carried myself or whatever. First and foremost, something I was going to say a moment earlier, but I forgot to. I actually think this is the most enjoyment I've ever had out of a Thanksgiving. I actually think I enjoyed and was able to be more present with my family than ever because I didn't care about the food. Because in the past, if I would have a Thanksgiving meal and if it was bad or if it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, my day would be ruined. I didn't have the opportunity for that to happen now.
It's like getting your expectations up for this quote unquote cheat meal and not being impressed with it. And then you're like, I would have just rather stuck to plan. Yeah. I know that seems weird, but it just, I've had cheat meals in the past where I'm just like, wow, I wish I could throw this up and eat my regular food because this is garbage. Like, why did I even eat this?
Yeah, and it's just like I said, it's just about how you carry yourself. Like this time around, yesterday Thanksgiving, I brought all my meals with me. They were out of the way. Nobody saw them. Nobody had to deal with it. And when they got their entrees, I went and grabbed out a meal. About an hour or two later, when they went back for dessert, I grabbed another meal. I didn't have anybody say, "Oh, why aren't you eating dessert?" I didn't have anybody ask me any questions other than one. Hey, what are you eating? It looks really good. That's the only question I got.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's better than they usually are.
That's it. Yeah. So it's like, if you give your family a reason to accept it because of how you carry yourself, they're not going to give you shit for it if they're, good people. Yeah. Which thankfully my family has always been, both sides have always been very understanding of what I do. So.
Well, here in the South, it's a little bit different.
I'm in North Carolina.
We eat good down here. We eat real good down here.
Yeah, I guess you're a little more Southern, but man, it's more common for me to see somebody with a sweet tea and a Bojangles chicken tender than it is a water and fruit. Like that's our oxygen is Bojangles.
Oh man.
But yeah, so I was asking Steve what his baseline diet was looking like after we got off the Thanksgiving topic. What's your baseline diet looking like right now?
He just pushed me up again, so we are at 5,700 calories on training days.
Nice. You got me beat by 100.
Dude, I don't even feel like I'm eating. I'm right there with I went to bed last night hungry. I was like, oh, I could go eat something right now, but I just
caveat. What's the red look like? I'm still at a milligram myself.
0.7 milligrams. Okay. It's technically I would say 1, but because I'm microdosing 0.1 every day, easiest way to do it, I'm doing 0.7. He bumped up my telmisartan because he brought up my growth, which even still my blood pressure has not trended outside of the 120s over 60s to 70s. Yep. So every metric has stayed just about the same. Non-training days I think are 4,600 calories. Yeah, it's good variety. There's really not much to say on it. I feel good right now. Feel healthy. Healthiest I've ever been at this weight and the leanest I've ever been at this weight. It's actually kind of absurd. It's kind of like I literally got done with cardio yesterday and I was in the restroom and I just noticed my legs, like how veiny they were. And I was like, golly, like this looks like prep lean. Like what's going on?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
crazy.
feeling the same way. And also because I had that growth phase cruise, or so rebound cruise growth phase. Oh, hit my microphone. Whereas you've just basically done like one straight push, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It's just started lower and went higher. So I kind of had that
low calorie, low dose.
Yeah, I had that lull period in there. And before the lull period, I was around 237, 240. Then we did a little mini cut, kind of cleanup phase in the cruise itself, dropped down to about 221. Now I'm back up to about 230, 231. And the look at this time around, even it just being a couple months later, is different. I'm leaner, bigger, harder, fuller. Everything is just better at the weight I was. I'm interested to see what 237, 240 is going to look like this time around.
Oh yeah, I'm wondering how far we're even going to take it. I mean, I guess as long as metrics stay healthy and I stay lean, I don't know what the limit's going to be. But he said in the email the latter half of off season, so I don't know if we're already potentially getting close to the end. But I'm like 237 right now, and I feel like I could go another 10 pounds and probably still hold on to some pretty good leanness. So
who knows? I feel like at our height,
I peaked out at 249 last time, but I was fluffy. I was fluffy at 249.
Dude, I peaked at 231 last time, and I was like, if I had to guess, I was pushing 18-20% at 230.
Yeah.
And now I've still got some semblance in my glutes, had my abs, lines, stuff like that at 230. So it's like that progress right there is more valuable than anything. Even like just being the same weight but better is almost more impressive to me than, the opposite or a different scenario where someone has a giant leap in weight there and the look is different. Because it's not necessarily a recomp. It's up and down and then back and forth, but it's just a cool cycle of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I don't know what he plans to do once I reach peak. Maybe we just go into a health phase, which that might be the case because I haven't taken one.
Most likely,
maybe get some blood work and then take a mini cut, if you want to call it that, and then go right back into a push. I don't know, but we're, like I said, maybe in previous podcasts, but we're shooting for NPC Nats next year. So I've got a whole year, and I've got to. He even said too, because I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. I was like, well, the goal is just to be at the top end of heavyweights. And he's like, you might be done with heavyweights. And I'm like,
I was about to say that.
Goodness gracious.
Because what I'm thinking, man, is, and we're the same height. We're both 5'9", if I'm not mistaken. Based on previous looks I've seen on the way up to this weight, I feel like I kept almost getting leaner from 197 when I stepped on stage to 215. I'd have to bet now, with everything being the way it is, if I was to step on stage right now, I'd probably need to drop like 20, 25 pounds, something like that. So I'd probably compete around like 200, 205 right now. After pushing up to this growth phase, I'm hoping to fill out heavyweights basically. So, around 215 or so. But I feel like, I'm here. I feel like in terms of like progress, you're like a rung above. So I would see you I would see you being into that slot of a super heavyweight, like the bottom end of super heavy. I think you could absolutely do that. Because that's what, 220 or 225?
225 is the top end of heavyweight. So I was 210.
Okay. I thought 215 was. I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah, so 225 is the top end of heavyweights, and that's what it was. The goal was like put on 15 pounds by next year. And at the same time, I'm not getting my head blown off because I usually know how off season goes. You feel a lot bigger than you actually are. You're full of water. You're full of fluid. So right now, if I were to go and glycogen deplete, I'm sure I would flatten out like crazy. And then next thing you know, I'm back down to 225. So realistically, probably going to compete at the top end of heavyweights next time because I was 210. So that'd be 15 pounds of stage weight, which is a lot in a year. But then at some point, I think it's just like, well, the bigger the better, right? As long as you maintain the tightness in your waist. And that's one thing I have not struggled with yet. I naturally have a broader waist. Like the smallest it gets in prep is 31 inches maybe in circumference. But I think that my legs play a huge role in why it makes my waist look small. That was one of the main things people pointed out whenever I was competing was like, oh man, you have such a tight waist. And I'm like, I felt like I have a block of a waist, but it just comes down to the poses. Some of the poses just look better than others. But really trying to get my lats out this time. I mean, I don't know if my lat insertions are the best as far as how low they go on my torso, but
I would need to look, but I can tell you I've never looked at a back pose at you and thought like, oh, structurally that's weak. I've never thought that.
Yeah.
So I would assume everything's what were you about to say?
I'll say his lats are really coming up too, so they are.
Yeah, like I can see the growth.
It seems like it.
Yeah,
seems like it.
Yeah, and it seems like you're growing very proportionally as well. Like nothing is growing too quick or too slow. It's like everything's on pace, and I think that's good because we can.
I just feel like everything's kind of swelling. Yeah.
yeah. So I think I'm not mistaken in saying this is the hardest you ever pushed before, right?
Oh yeah. I probably ran peak dose last off season was half of what I'm doing right now. Okay. And I'm not going to go into dosages on the pod just because I don't promote it. I'm not one to like get offended. Oh, you have to use that much to grow. I'm like, I don't give a fuck out. As long as I'm healthy, I'm good, dude. I'm good.
For sure.
But what I don't like is that when you start putting these numbers out there, people start to think that they can replicate that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, if I was running the doses I'm running right now last off season, my blood pressure would have been 180 over fucking 90 probably.
It's about where you're at.
I mean, seriously. Yeah,
it's about where you're at. Like, for example, I will give numbers on mine just because in my opinion, I'm not doing a lot, so I feel like it's not irresponsible for me to give out that number or anything. And also, I think I've said it enough times where it's like it's been the same for the past 4 weeks. If people are listening to this, they're gonna know what I'm taking. So I'm doing a gram a test and 600 EQ, 8 units of growth, and that's basically it. For me, that's like very little. But we're only 4 weeks, 5 weeks in. I think tomorrow will be 5 weeks into a growth phase. So I'm hoping to kind of push that up a bit. But it at this amount, this honestly, I would never do this. But I feel like this could, in terms of like how I feel, I could do this forever. I could literally run this for the rest of my life.
And you feel invincible while you're doing it, man. It's crazy.
And my blood work would be perfect on this amount too. So there's that, because I've gotten blood work done on this exact amount, like 100 milligrams less maybe of Masteron instead of EQ. But based on what I've seen, I could run this amount basically forever. So that tells me, in a way, I'm probably not doing enough, if that makes sense, because I feel like we are younger.
Yeah,
there is a time to push and there is a time to pull. And I'm not saying no 4 grams or nothing. I'm talking about like a 400 milligram increase.
This is the time to be pushing.
Yes. And when you're going about progressing a cycle, you do not go from a gram to 3. That's fucking stupid. No. You go from a gram
We're doing like
to
200 to 300
1/4
milligram titrations.
Yes.
Yeah.
You bump up by like, 250, 200, 300 at a time, depending on what the compound is. Like, you're obviously not doing that with Tren.
Very dependent on the compound, yeah.
Yeah, but basically anything other than a 19 nor maybe you can kind of lump them all in similar milligram totals. But yeah, it's just about knowing where you're at. Like I'm saying, this amount right now, I feel like I could do it for the rest of my life, have good bloods, and probably make progress. 2 years ago, my blood pressure would be out of this world, and my blood glucose out of this world. And I think a part of that is, growing more muscle, you can handle more. But I also think just being more locked into the lifestyle, having your diet on point, having your sleep on point, your recovery,
controlling the variables,
your training, and driving, everything, of course, it makes it to where you don't necessarily need as much, but you can also get more out of more. Because ultimately, more is always more. I don't want to give people the impression that like we're low dose or anything, because we're not. But
well, full transparency, my last off season, my peak doses, if I remember correctly, and I don't know if Stevie might remember, it was around 750 test, 500 EQ, and I shortly did 6 IUs of GH, but I was mostly running 4. But then that's whenever I bumped up to 6, all of a sudden the fluid retention was awful. Yeah, what the hell? And so I quit very shortly after. But so like to put it in perspective, I'm up to double of that now. Double that essentially. But I feel way better on it right now.
And
than
your
I did
blood
back
markers
then.
are probably perfect, for the most part.
That probably sounds superstitious, but I think the compression socks make a difference.
Dude, I've been doing that. I've been doing that. I believe you 100%. And I didn't wear them today, and I can tell a difference. Even being on my feet.
I've worn them to bed at night.
I do that.
I've worn them to bed at night. And whenever I get up, I can see more striations in my calves than I normally would.
Yeah. So
meaning there's like a lot less fluid there.
Yeah. So like if on today, on like a rest day, I will typically shower before bed, and then I'll just like, I'll wear my socks and everything that I'm going to wear tomorrow.
He wears the socks in the shower, Stevie.
Oh God, that's torture.
Imagine this fucking maniac just comes out of the shower.
That's like fucking cruel and unusual. That's like what they do to people in Vietnam or some shit, man. That's crazy. But basically every other night or so, I will wear the compression socks to bed, and I will wake up, I'll peel them off, and there will be like veins in my ankles. It's crazy. It makes a huge difference.
It's crazy.
And I've even gone so far. You got me on like a whole compression kick now. I'm doing the compression socks.
This guy's gonna be wearing latex all over his body.
I'm doing
spandex all over.
like knee length, like underwear that goes down to the length of the knee compression, dude. And talk about my legs are nowhere near yours. I can only imagine the chafe you get, but I get some bad chafe. I get bad fucking chafe.
That's why I only wear athletic shorts. I swear. Anything else, I feel so uncomfortable in. And if I buy jeans, I buy the stretch fit kind. But because they're stretch fit, they're not denim. And because they're not fully denim, they fucking wear quick. So I mean, I got a hole in them in less than a month if I wear them like pretty consistently. So it's not even worth the money. It's just not.
It sucks buying
special
clothes.
occasions. That's it.
It sucks buying clothes the bigger you get, man. It really does. And even shoes now is starting to make a difference for me. I wore out a hole. I shit you not. I wish I could go get them right now and show you guys. So basically, you have the actual insole of the shoe, then you have like a rubber material, and then you have, it's almost like this white material. It looks like the shit you see, like the beer can holders. You know what I'm talking about? That plastic shit you see in the ocean? That type of stuff. It looks like that. I wore my heel out to where I could see that white shit in the bottom of it. Basically almost all the way through the shoe. I've had these shoes. Guess how long I've had them for? A month. I did that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dude. I average like 17,000 steps a day.
I was gonna say that's crazy, by the way. Because granted, I'll add some caveat. I hit 17,000 last night,
and that's not counting my cardio.
Work day. Yeah. I was gonna say that's okay. Like I say, okay. My old job, I used to do 15 to 17,000, but it was very light-footed work. Yeah. Wearing work boots that are composite toe and they're pretty heavy, and I'm wearing gear around my hips, and I'm walking up and down steps, dude. I pinned my quad yesterday, and now my left quad is so fucking inflamed because all that walking up and down steps all night at work. But no, 17,000 every day, that's a lot.
That's an average. I have 20,000 days some days. 21 I've seen.
That's literally 10 miles.
Yeah.
Do you titrate it in prep at all, or what do you do?
I've never tracked my steps before in prep. This will be my first time. Really? I didn't know I was moving this much. I didn't. And so basically where it comes from is, and think about it like this. I have 7 meals a day. I do a 10-minute walk after every single meal except for my first meal because it's my pre-training meal. That's like 6,000 steps right there in and of itself. And then I have to, I'm terrible with square footage and shit, but I've got like a medium-sized gym I run. Steve's been there. He knows how big it is. I circle the gym probably 10 times a day, just checking on shit like wipes, dispensers, stuff like that. Then if I have any personal training clients, you got that on top of it. And then anytime I go to the bathroom a lot, I drink a half a gallon. First thing I wake up, I basically chug a half a gallon. I drink an entire gallon during my workout. I'll go piss 10 times.
Jesus.
Yeah.
A gallon?
Yeah, man.
I'm over here thinking I'm doing a lot. I'm drinking a 20-ounce bottle of intra-workout.
I picked up that habit. I had picked up that habit on prep because I was getting hunger pangs in my workout, and the water was the only thing that stopped it. And I got used to drinking a gallon of water while I train. And I also am someone who will wake up a lot at night to pee, especially with sleep apnea and everything. And I typically like to be done with most of my water for the day by about 3 or 4 o'clock, and I go to bed typically around 9. So having all that water so early in the day definitely helps. For me, at least.
Oh, 100%.
I don't know. I definitely would not be able to train with that, especially if I'm doing like heavy.
Dog, I can pull a vacuum. I can pull a vacuum on my last set. I'm telling you.
Throw up.
This might be random. Anson. This is a personal question. It's a personal question, but you mentioned that you have to pee a lot. And obviously, I know with sleep apnea, that can make that a lot worse.
Yeah.
Have you ever? And we're so young, so I really hate to even think that I'd ever have this
problem. Got my prostate checked.
Yes.
I always get that. What's the blood marker, like PSH or whatever?
Yeah.
Something like that. That's PSH. Always been normal. It's always been super normal.
Okay. I only asked because I was like, I think about the same thing. I noticed personally my last off season, I remember there were times where I felt like I had more pressure when I was trying to pee. I was like, oh, this is weird. More pressure.
I can't say I've had that happen. Now. Yeah, I can't say I've had that happen. I have had periods, I would say close to the end of contest prep, I could maybe tell something was going on with my prostate a little bit just because I was taking a lot of Masteron and a decent chunk of tren. It would be enough tren to where I'm not going to disclose the dose like Dan said earlier, but it's not enough to make an old head, not enough to make an old head scared, but I'll say less than
200
1,000, but more than 400.
Okay, that gives a pretty broad range.
So like right between then, so about 650 is what he's saying.
Yeah, about 600, 700, maybe 800, maybe 900. I don't know.
It was a Nanthate, so we'll say it was actually less.
99. That's what it was.
It was a Nanthate, so probably, who knows? It was probably like cut a quarter off of that just to Esther.
Yeah. Prostate specific antigen, by the way. I just remembered that's what it is. PSA,
yeah.
Prostate
PSA.
specific antigen.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just always had that pulled, and I've never noticed anything alarming about it. Yeah, and I've taken what is this saw palmetto?
Yeah,
saw palmetto.
Yeah, that's in one of the blends that I take. So I always try to cover all my bases. Even in the past, I thought stuff like that wasn't super important, like prostate specifically, and now I do try to. And heart, for whatever reason, when I was first getting all to this, I really did not care about heart health just because I was young. I was like, oh, I'll be fine. And then the older I get, I'm like, well, I might as well just throw in some of these heart supplements. It's not going to hurt anything, and it's not going to cost that much. Throw in some CoQ10, throw in some saw palmetto, throw in a little bit of citrus bergamot, stuff like that.
Shit, fish oil is the most expensive thing I'm getting for heart health. That's about it.
Yeah.
I try to watch it, so I do, just because it runs in my family with blood pressure, and my father just got his he just had clogged arteries with blood vessels and stuff like that as well. That had him in the hospital for just under a week. So
every single man in my family on both sides has either died of a heart attack or has heart problems. But like I said earlier, we live in the South, and our blood type is Dr. Pepper. So
that or sweet tea, one of the two.
So who knows how much of that is lifestyle cause versus genetics?
Yeah,
nature versus nurture. Yeah,
that's true. A lot of all my family members that have blood pressure, they're relatively fit. Like they're not overweight at all. So they're not. My dad's actually underweight, but heavy drinkers. So the drinking playing into that as well. But I've also always had relatively elevated blood pressure since I was like 13 and 14. So.
Yeah, and
same here.
My family has that history of heart stuff, but my blood pressure has always been good. Like you guys have heard me say, I've seen as low as like 100/50 some days. And now with growth being higher, I don't really see that much anymore. But like in a cruise, when I drop down to like 6, I'll see like 110/55, 60, something like that.
One thing I will mention, I told Daniel, so I did. I'm down to low dose, so I'm just kind of like cruising for now. I completely pulled out growth about a week and a half, just under 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I completely pulled it. I'm going to keep it out for a little bit longer, just see how it affects blood glucose and stuff like that. But my blood pressure readings went down like 10 points in, 5 or 6 days. So it did. I was like, that's amazing. So it is.
I think you bumped growth pretty quick, though. So I bet that immediate drop from fluid retention, probably dropped you quick.
So this is an interesting topic to go into because we were talking a little bit about this earlier on Instagram DMs. So what do you guys kind of view in terms of growth hormone titration, dosage, like how do you go about it? So I'll explain how I went about it. This is the first off season, or in general, I've never used it on a prep at all, but this is the first off season where I've used what I would consider bodybuilding doses for any considerable amount of time. I jumped straight to 6. And I got very weird side effects, basically. Just weird water retention, stiffness in my legs, blood sugar issues like crazy, stuff like that. And I had to drop it down for a little bit to 4. Eventually things subsided. I bumped it back up to 5. Then I did 6. Then I did 7. Now I'm up to 8. That's kind of where I'm chilling. So it seems to me like we almost kind of have to titrate it. We can't just jump to it like we can with anabolics per se.
I'm sure that you've heard Joe. Go ahead, Stevie. Go ahead.
I titrate my anabolics too, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't just go from, But I'll let you say what you're going to say, Daniel. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, because Anson, I know he's coached by Joe. I've heard Joe in podcasts say that, initially whenever you jump to a new dose, you're going to deal with all the side effects. And then once you become acclimated, eventually you'll increase from there. I went through the same thing the first time I touched growth, and that was last off season. I started...
I hate to interrupt, but this is a really bad side effect I forgot to mention. Have you guys ever got a resting heart rate increase from taking growth hormone?
I don't think so.
Dude,
what's your resting heart rate?
Normally 70. Bro, the first couple of weeks, I'd say the first 2 weeks that I went up to 6 IU, my resting heart rate would not go below 100.
Yeah, that's pretty.
No other stimulants in play, by the way.
Wow.
Which growth
No,
hormone is
I've never experienced that. I mean, I'll have to speak anecdotally because I've checked my resting heart rate throughout the year, and prep it always gets really low. It's like 48 to 56.
Wow.
Right now it's 76.
Yeah.
Right now I'll take my blood pressure in the morning, usually after cardio, so technically it's not really resting heart rate. I'll take 5 minutes to sit for a minute, but generally it'll get down to like 72 to 76. But yeah, it gets really low whenever I'm in prep.
Yeah, I'll see like low 70s. I've never seen higher than an 80 recently. And it went away after 2 weeks or so. I was like trying some, because I basically thought that I had fucked up my heart or something because I thought I was too aggressive with the fat burners.
What about thyroid?
I think I was still on a little
thyroid.
bit. I was probably on like 12.5 micrograms of T3 at the time. That's it.
Yeah, but the thing about growth is it increases the conversion of T4. And I would imagine that higher T3 conversion might play a role in resting heart rate elevating.
That makes sense because, like I said, it was 2 weeks that I had the problem with, and I added in the growth hormone right at the start of the rebound, and I left in T3. So basically, I didn't go above 25.
You also brought in food then, and food's going to obviously play a role too.
Yep. So then I cut down the T3 after 2 weeks. I cut it in half, and then I cut it out completely. And that tracks with that timeline. So yeah, maybe it was that.
Yeah.
There's a couple of variables going on there, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I mean, I run thyroid year round, so my body's just proper.
I don't do T3 year round. I do T4.
I do T3 year round too, though. But I mean, but that puts me in my average range, and I mean, even whenever pushing growth up, I go up to like 6 IUs. It's high as I've really ever went. Yep. My resting heart rate normally stays around that 70 mark, so it doesn't go any higher. It's usually down the 60s actually. So
yeah, I've never even seen my resting heart rate that high on Clen. Like me and Joe added in Clen for that mini cut during the cruise. My resting heart rate was chilling around 85, 90 at the absolute highest, and I'm talking like after having taken the Clen for that day.
Yeah.
That's a weird side effect that I've not heard many other people have. But I was talking to a old school dude at my gym, guy who he competed. Actually, he didn't compete, but he was around competitors. He should have competed. He looks awesome. Back in like the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, stuff like that. And he apparently that is a somewhat common side effect that at least back then they got. I don't know why that would be, but he had heard of it.
As for titrations, I have for growth. I normally start at like 3, so I do. Then I'll bump straight up to like 6, and then if I want to, I'll just keep going up by 2. But I've never really gone above 6, so I haven't. So
interesting caveat with that. Sorry, I keep interrupting. Just the brain. Like I said, I did cut out growth hormone for 1 week. When I added it back in at 6, I didn't have any of these problems again. It's like I got it once, and then now I don't deal with it anymore.
That's another thing, because the first time I ran growth, I ran it at 4, so I did, and just running at 4 IUs, I got really bad water retention and like numbness in my hands, so I do whenever I go to sleep. But then the second time adding it back in, I put in a 4, and it felt like, well, once I got up to 4, it felt like nothing, so it did, and I was like, there's like nothing happening right now. I could sleep perfectly, no issues, no water.
Same with androgens.
Yeah.
Sounds the same with androgens. Because it's the same way whenever you run a new load at one point.
And new compounds too. Not even necessarily the dose being different, just introduction to a different compound. Let's say you did 1,000 of this and then 600 of Mastron, but you've never done 600 EQ. Kind of a similar situation to what I'm doing right now. I had not run EQ for 3 years. I think I ran EQ in like one of my first cycles, and since then I had not done it at all. And I'm doing 600 now, and I'm feeling it a little bit. It's like just a little bit of extra anxiety, nothing crazy, but I just got to be aware of it. I had never really gotten that side effect before, but when I ran it in the past, but now I do seem to get that a little bit. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that with EQ.
I love EQ. But,
I love it. Like the everything else about it, I love it so much where I don't care, but still.
I wonder if peptide wise, I wonder if the same thing would happen with like peptides titrating up to a certain dose, and then since the peptides are of such a rage right now with like SLU, PP, and Retta and everything like that coming out now. Because initially, say you work up to like 4 milligrams of Retta per week in prep or something,
that's
and then you come off. Yeah, for you that's a lot, but for some people that's like average.
I was on 5.6 at the end.
Oof,
exactly.
My wallet.
0.8 per day. Oh, it was cheap. I got my stuff for $3.90 for 100 milligrams.
Let's just say I bought enough to be good for long enough to where I don't have to think about it. and it wasn't very much.
Yeah.
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 But that initial investment, ouch.
That's my only exposure to peptides so far is Retta. I've never messed with melanotan or
I've done them
SLU
all.
or
I've done them all, except for the newer age ones. Now, like Mott C, SS31, like the new ones, I've not really fucked around with those. But in my last offseason, I didn't do growth or anything. So I've done a lot of the CJC, the GHRPs. I did IGF-3 a lot.
Okay.
IGF-DES, PEG MGF, Follistatin, all of it. I've done all the old school peptides that have been around for a while, and they're all fucking awful. They're all a waste of your money. These newer ones are awesome.
Yeah.
What's the one that's supposed to increase your hunger?
GHRP 1 and 2. Or I mean 2 and 6 rather.
6. Yeah. Okay.
The one I'm most interested in is going to be SLU. So it is. So I haven't used it, so I haven't. But there's people that it started out at like 750 for your starting dose.
It started at 200, bro.
And the low dose today is like 750.
Yeah.
And now I hear people pushing it up to like 2 grams or something today. So I do, which is it's tripled what it used to be. So yeah.
Frenchie's running 150 milligrams. He talked about it on here.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's just pretty low then.
No, 150 milligrams, not micrograms.
Microgram, yeah.
It's normally micrograms. So like 2,000 milligrams is 2 grams. Like that, I'd say that's like a normal dose nowadays. 150 milligrams.
Yeah.
Dude, that's got to be crazy. He said it basically made it to where he didn't have to diet, which he's super disciplined. He still does, but doesn't have to. It spun his metabolism like crazy.
Isn't that like fucking going bankrupt right there?
Dude. Well, I think he doesn't run much of anything else. I think he's still pretty low dose on everything else, just with where he is. So he's just got that.
I guess I just don't get it. Like, it's the application that doesn't make sense to me. I'm not like critique. Well, I guess I am critiquing because I'm like, I would rather run a small bit of everything.
I agree.
Get a little bit of everything and get all the synergy that goes on between everything versus just putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, and one thing I told him is like, this is uncharted territory. No one's ever done this.
I think he's low dose.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's rat experimenting with himself.
He's using some other stuff like low dose growth and whatnot as well, I think. So, but the only other one I've played around with, the only one I've played around with is Mott C so far. Aside from Retta.
I've never touched that.
I'm just taking 1 milligram in the morning, so I am basically like have it with my coffee. Actually, I'm like, okay, coffee, and then a little mitochondrial enhancer right here. See how it goes, and I get started with my day.
I thought about flipping from going to SLU to Mott C just to see what the difference is, because I feel like with these things, all the mitochondrial, whatever you want to call them, there's definitely benefits to stacking them together. But me personally, I would like to run each one individually. You know, of course, still using
exactly how they apply.
Yeah. That way we don't have the cocktail approach. It's like, okay, now I just got to throw $400 at the wall because I don't know which one actually worked best for me.
Yeah.
Well, Mott C is more just the mitochondrial side. SLU is supposed to be more of like an actual exercise mimetic.
I thought Mott C had a role in insulin sensitivity too, though.
I'd have to look more into that, so I would. It doesn't. If it does, it's very minimal. So it is. Okay. It's nothing like that. It's
I've got nothing but good things to say about SLU. I've only done 500 to 600, depending on the formulation of tablets I get. For an off season or a cruise, I think that's enough. In a prep, I could see going to 1,500, 2,000 at the absolute most. I don't see a reason to do much more than that, though.
I definitely want to try it at some point, but I mean, just 1 milligram of Mott C right now every day is. Honestly, I don't know if I notice a ton of anything. I guess I would say I would, because I'm not. My focus is definitely improved throughout the morning, so it isn't throughout the day, and I don't really have any. I don't get unfocused, I guess you could say. I don't.
That's why I haven't run it. It's because it seems more like a compound that would be beneficial in contest prep, and not so much in an off season. But I heard recently the insulin sensitivity benefits. That's what's making me think maybe I should kind of flip flop.
I like it because I like to. I mean, my work. It requires kind of focus. So
I can just be a bum all day. I can just sit up the front, say how you doing, take some money in. You know, if I'm feeling like super run down.
Get out of here.
Then I've got my rest days to actually like do more hands-on work. That's kind of how I've been treating it now. Is like I'm not doing anything on a Wednesday or a Friday, so I'll go around, straighten up everything I need to do. Everything kind of gets done on those 2 days for the most part.
What I will say is at Motsy, whenever you inject it, I've heard of, I don't know how many people get this side effect, but
The
you get
reaction.
like a little bit of a red, itchy underneath your skin. So you do. It stays for about 5 minutes, but then it's gone. So
Some people have gone into anaphylactic shock straight up, though.
yeah, but I think those are the people that probably don't know
too
how
much.
to do it.
Yeah, too much. I would assume that. I mean, that's weird though. I actually had. I don't know what it was, so I don't want to say it was this, but have you ever had a peptide go from normal to clear, like from clear to cloudy or anything like that?
No, and
Okay, I haven't either.
I've heard that if it does, just throw it out. Is what
Yeah,
I've
I
heard.
didn't, and I don't know if it's what this was. I don't know if it's what this was. There were a few things that I was taking at the time, so I don't know. I removed them all, so I don't know which one was doing it, and I'm not fucking around adding it back in. But something was causing me to have a severe allergic reaction to the point of where if I didn't catch it when I did, I probably would have had some problems. And I'm thinking it was somehow a vial of Retta. I had been using it for a long time because I'm only using 1 milligram a week, so a 10 milligram vial is going to last 10 weeks. So I think I was on the back end of that, and my face. One day I was on the treadmill after a meal, just getting steps in, and my face started getting itchy and burning, and then it spread across my whole body. And I had to take Benadryl to calm it down, and I think the cloudy Retta was what was doing it. So I just tossed the vial and started a new one, and no problem since. But I can only imagine with something like a Motsy.
Never experienced that on my face, but what I will say that Retta has shown to be a side effect is feeling like you got a sunburn.
I haven't had any of that.
I had it where I would inject my Retta, and every once in a while I'd be sitting in my car and it felt like I had a sunburn on my back, and I'm like, what the hell?
That's what it felt like.
It was temporary. It was temporary. Yeah, it just kind of on and off.
But it went away when I opened it
because it kind of got rid of the side effects.
I was already microdosing it. That's the thing, and it felt like a sunburn. I say itchy, but like on a scale of 1 to 10, how itchy? I'm talking like a 2. But on a scale of burning, it's like a 10. It was a 10 on that.
Yeah, sunburn.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
I did not like it sometimes.
It felt like a chemical burn, I would say, not a sunburn.
I'd get on the leg press and it would just be burning up my back. Yeah.
That's tough, yeah.
But like the actual site that I put it into, nothing. No reaction around the site. It would just, for whatever reason, start at my forehead, go down my entire body.
Yeah, it's random.
And there were multiple things that could have been doing that. I also think maybe I had a contaminated supplement. I was taking some magnesium oxide. In the past, I would like to take magnesium oxide with my first, my middle of the day, and my last meal. And I noticed in that middle of the day meal where I had that magnesium oxide, I would, around that time, break out. So I tossed that along with the Rettas. You know, unfortunately, I take the kitchen sink approach to a lot of things in life, so it's hard to actually know. But yeah, that's just a weird experience I'd had with peptides that I thought would probably be interesting.
I'm gonna hop off here. I'm gonna go hit up Andrew for some SLU. And,
I need to have him. I need to have him on again. I need to have him on again and see because he was just getting started on that. Yeah, because he had just started it. I'm curious to see how that whole thing's been doing. I'm interested.
Yeah, I'm about to go shoot a message to him and see what's up. But all right, it was good catching up with you guys.
Yeah, good chatting with you.
All right, see you, Stevie.
Dan the man. Just 2 of us now.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so your off-season progress right now, man, is fucking crazy. It's insane. It's got me having
it's blowing my mind a little bit.
It's got me having straight up FOMO, man. It like I gotta look at it. I'm like, all right. I've only been on for 4 weeks. He's got like 7 weeks of build up. I gotta wait.
I want a blast.
Oh, dude, I see you and I'm like, all right, well, 1,000. Maybe that's not too much. Maybe we can double that. Not to say that you're doing double that. You're not, but like it just makes me think like.
Dude, normally I wouldn't even like posting my pictures during the off season because I always look at myself and say, "You fat fucking weak piece of shit." I just in my head I'm just like, "You suck." Like look at how some of these people look in the off season. This is the first time I'm like. I have my weak areas still, but I'm not mad with the way I'm looking right now.
Man.
I'm pretty confident with it. So
I think you saw my my pictures last night that I had with my family at Thanksgiving, or my wife's side of the family. This is the first. It's the first time. I appreciate it. It's the first time in my life I can ever look at myself in like a family photo and be like, I look okay.
Yeah, I look like I work out.
Yeah, right. And it's like, meanwhile, it's like, you look like you work out. Okay, yeah, your arms and shoulders literally bigger than your 6-year-old niece beside you in the picture. I think you definitely look like you work out.
Yeah, and that's the funny part too. Is like most people don't ever achieve that build.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But because we see a lot of people now through social media that have that build, like, dude, I'll tell you right now, I can go fucking shopping 6 times a week here in Clarksville. I don't ever see somebody that looks like me.
Yep.
I don't. I'm always the one kind of standing out, and people come up to me, "Oh my God, you're jacked." I'm like, "Am I?" Because my entire life revolves around a sport where I'm the tiniest guy in comparison to some of these dudes. I'm just like, oh man. But dude, you're talking about getting on a stage next to other people who are also one in a million doing this one sport, and they're freaking good at it, right? Yeah. So you're just not going to see that, you know. So we don't give ourselves enough credit.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'd rather have that. I think we've talked about this a ton. I'd rather have that viewpoint, man, because the wolf climb.
I was just about to caveat and say, or you can be too full of yourself, and that's the in between.
No,
you see people who are full of themselves, and you see people who they are. It's not even the word humble. It's like they are never satisfied with the way they look, and that's kind of like
self-deprecating.
Like, yeah. That's it. Quite honestly, I see that as more of an issue than the whole food eating disorder 100%. Thing, because I'm more worried about how I'm not training hard enough in the gym, or I'm not pushing myself hard enough on, I hate to say the PED side of things, but you know, in past, I'm like, kind of like what you said, you almost feel like you need to throw the kitchen sink at it because time is of the essence and you only have so much time left. And, you know, it's a calculated risk already with your health. So if I can get away with doing more, if my health stays in check, then why not? Right. Yeah. But it's just a step-by-step process, you know, like I said, a year ago, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing right now as far as the androgens go, but now my body can handle it, and I realize that it's going to take a lot more to get to that pro caliber level.
And so long as you're healthy and you're not breaking the bank, go off is all I say.
Shit, man. Yeah, talk about breaking the bank. I'm always I'm always price hunting on that stuff.
Yeah, price hunting on everything. Black Friday has been a little underwhelming this year, unfortunately. I was hoping to kind of find some deals with supplements, you know, maybe even food if I could at grocery stores, because I've seen that before.
No
I've seen food on sale at for Black Friday, chicken. I remember one year I got that. But yeah, unfortunately, a little underwhelming on that side this year. But with where are you thinking you go from here with the offseason, like you were talking about? Because you said you've got a long time to grow, right? Me personally, and that's one of the reasons I've got that sense of FOMO is I've only got, like, I think it's 14 to 16 weeks of this offseason blast cycle because I did such a long rebound that it feels like, you know, I got to get going. I only have 12 more weeks, which is a long ass time, right? But it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel the same way because I technically did 5 weeks of a post-show recovery. And I just paid Austin for the next 3 months. So we're at like week 12 right now, essentially. Coming up December 1st will be week 12, the end of week 12 of between post-show recovery of 5 weeks and 7 weeks of the off season. So I don't know if he's including the post-show recovery, because I mean, you're putting on weight. So technically it's kind of an off season. So I imagine we're looking at 16 to 20 weeks at most, probably 16. I don't know. Yeah. It might be that I do 16, do a health phase, get everything in check, and then go right back into a push.
Yeah, and in the past, I've always done 20 plus for cycles, whether it be off.
That always ends up being too much, too, it seems like. It always ends up being too much, it feels like.
I feel like 20 on the dot is okay, but like
on the dot.
21 always feels bad. 22 always feels bad.
It's just too long. You've been putting your body through so much stress for so long, eventually it just stops receiving.
Yeah.
And everything stops feeling good.
The only time that's not the case is when, what I did happens is where you go from a contest prep into a rebound. That's the only time where you can kind of stay on drugs and it still feel like you're getting something out of it. Just because of the food being the new stimulus. The food is like, the drugs are a factor, right? But in a rebound, I don't care how much drugs you're taking. The food is still 80% of that. And in the off season, that's still true. Like the drugs don't matter if you don't give them the food, the building blocks to do what they do.
Yeah, my approach and my philosophy around post-show rebound, I always find it odd the people that are trying to stay at the same weight as their show.
Oh yeah.
Like a week. I'm not saying that you should go and put on 30 pounds, but you are literally shooting yourself in the foot by maintaining that state of leanness. Like because it's just not productive. If your sleep is bad. Strength in the gym is bad. You're using all these estrogen blockers. Like you need to pull that shit and go through the little phase where you might have a little bit of extra fluid retention, but it is best that you get out of that lean state as quick as possible. It's just not productive.
Like I was mentioning earlier, man, from the ride up to really, so my lowest point in prep was 185. So basically from 185 to 215, I looked and felt like I was getting leaner almost. Like I almost had more lines in certain areas than I did on stage. And I felt that way too.
Same here.
I felt terrible. And that, I think it took me about 12 weeks to go from 195 to 215. 12 weeks, I still wasn't recovered. 12 weeks, I still felt like I was a day out in terms of like my gym performance, in terms of my joints, how they felt. Libido was dead, non-existent. Mm-hmm. And then what the difference maker was is we just had to bump up food a bit. We took me from 5,500 to pretty much like 6,000 or 6,500 calories, added a little bit of needed body fat, and then I was finally able to perform in the gym. And by doing that, I almost got 2 different contest prep rebounds. I basically got that initial rebound from 195 to 215, and then I kind of got another one from 215 to almost 240. And a part of that was because I did restrict so hard on that initial rebound, but my weight still went up like 20 pounds. So
it sounds to me like too. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
It sounds to me like too, with where you're at, considering you've gone through essentially 2 rebounds. You just went through a health phase, right? Yep. So you pretty much spent most of your time rebounding in the lowest androgen state you can. So you've almost set yourself up for an even better offseason now, because now you're actually pushing doses up.
Yep.
And you're in a healthy state to start pushing really hard in the gym.
Yeah.
So, and of course, you're going to be putting on a little bit more body fat. So you're going to get to a point where you're like, oh man, where are the lines at? But the amount of tissue that you've probably put on with that excess body fat accrued, it's going to be ridiculous the next time you prep, and especially prepping correctly, you know?
Exactly.
Because I know a lot of people, preps can be mismanaged, and whenever you diet down the wrong way, you lose a lot of muscle, a lot more than you're supposed to.
And like I mentioned earlier, I've never done a contest prep on growth hormone, man. Ever.
That made a difference. I used it this last prep. I've never used growth in a prep. I used it last prep at 6 IUs a day, and it was a game changer. Recovery was a lot better. The 6 hours of sleep took me a lot further.
Yeah,
for
sure. But recovery, I mean, that's the name of the game in a contest prep. Like in an off season, you should be pretty recovered no matter what, so long as you're doing the right things
with the food and all. Yeah.
In a contest prep, you're going to be fighting to be recovered, even if you're on the ball with everything, even if you're perfect.
Yeah.
So like we were mentioning earlier too, in Instagram chat, like that's why I almost think you almost should save the higher dose growth hormone for contest prep. That's what I'm going to do. And again, 8 is higher dose. I'm not going to pretend it's not. For most people, they're not going to ever run 8 to 10.
Oh, it's high.
So I think like 8 to 10 in off season is probably going to be my sweet spot, at least for the rest of this off season. And then when I go to contest prep, if I can afford it, I'd really like to do 10 to 15.
How do you think I feel right now? This is the most I've ever. I didn't even know we were going to go to this point, and I'm just sitting there like, geez, 12 units a day. Holy shit!
Were you at 8?
I feel fine.
Were you at 8 for a while, or did you kind of like cross over 8?
So we started out at 5, and then eventually that bumped to 6, or maybe just straight to 8, and then it went to 8. We maintained 8 for a good amount of time. Then it slowly bumped up to 10, and now we've bumped up to 12.
If you had to guess, how many?
And I've averaged 2 pounds of.
How many weeks do you think you sat at 8 for?
Maybe 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
I'm gonna guess 4 weeks. I'm gonna guess a month.
Okay.
Just about, because usually there's one of 2 things. Well, one of 3 things that happens. He either escalates food, he escalates drugs, or we maintain, or we escalate both. Yeah. And most of the time, I'm usually pretty good about anticipating what he's going to be doing. Because once again, having the self-coach experience, I can already kind of read what he's going to do. There's some things I'm kind of like, oh, this is something he implemented that I maybe wouldn't have thought of. But everything is implemented. I'm like, oh, I'm right on the money with that. Like, I know exactly where we're about to go. And generally, it's one of 2 things. He's increasing food by maybe 200 or 300 calories, or he's increasing drugs by 200, 300. But with the growth hormone, it's been held pretty consistent for the most part, and then we slowly titrate it up. I can't speak for whether I feel a difference on running 100 micrograms of T4 in the mornings, afternoons when I wake up.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. It's like it's pennies to buy, and it might as well have it in. If it increases the amount of T3 conversion, that just means my metabolism is going to be better in the off season from keeping me getting fat. Yeah.
Yeah, just eat more food.
Spend more money.
yeah, but I mean,
more food.
And I was getting into this too. I think I mentioned this I've done so many damn podcasts in the past 2 weeks. I'm going to get them all confused. But
I haven't been able to keep up with you, man.
One of the 25 podcasts, and I've got some recorded right now in the bank that people haven't even seen yet. So like, there's that. Yeah. But in one of the 2,500 podcasts that I've recorded, I talked about this a little bit, and now I completely lost my train of thought because I mentioned. Completely lost my train of thought.
The growth hormone, or talking about calories being high?
Oh yes, food. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so I'm at 5,500 calories, right? I'm at basically 1.6 grams of gear, and it's been the exact same. All that stuff has been the same pretty much for 4 weeks. Tomorrow will be 5, but I'm gaining between 1 to 3 pounds a week. So do I really need to increase anything? Not necessarily, right?
Exactly, not really.
Yeah,
especially not food.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's kind of what I was just about to say. I've averaged 2 pounds now. Averaged 2 pounds for the last 12 weeks.
Yeah,
put on 25 pounds in the last 12 weeks. So
that's good.
Which, of course, immediately there was some more going on, like 3 to 4 pounds every week, and eventually it's kind of dialed back. Yeah. This is the first week, which I say the first week. I'm only day 2 into this week, but I've experienced almost a drop. I'm down like negative 0.5 pounds, but I'm finally at a point where it's like, wow, I'm eating 5,600 calories and I'm not gaining. That's crazy.
And the thing is too, you were mentioning like metabolism and stuff, and this is what I was saying on the other podcast is, I get that with my food, right? I understand that, but on the other hand, I would like to just try to bump up my food as high as possible, get my metabolism cranking and burning through as much food as it can, because I would rather start contest prep at 6,000 than 4,000, for example.
Oh yeah, that's
because
way
let's
easier.
say we have, let's say we have to cut off 2,000 calories from my diet from start to finish, right? I'd rather have that endpoint be a bit higher. And it's going to be the same amount of suffering to a degree, but I don't think it's going to be the same amount of performance in the gym. I don't think it's going to be the same amount of recovery. I think more is more. Even if you're in a calorie deficit, being at a calorie deficit while you're eating that much food, having that much signaling to your body to do specific things, it's different.
Here's what blows my mind when you say that, Anson. I've come to understand this, and I absolutely agree with it. The bigger you are, the leaner, the easier it is to get lean, and contest conditioned, because you are literally bigger, more muscular, meaning your muscles are pushing out like Saran wrap. That fat, you can technically be higher body fat and still look leaner because your muscles are pushing against the surface. 100%. It blows my mind how these guys who are 260 pounds of muscle are not coming in conditioned.
That's wild.
Let me retract some of that and say I don't know what it is like personally. But your job is full-time bodybuilding. What the hell is there being done wrong that you cannot get into shape for the show? Like, there might be more stressors now because people have sponsorships and they have all these other things going on. And that's, I guess, where I have like some retro, I guess the right term would be retrospective jealousy of like, I wish I could have grown up in the 90s and 2000s doing bodybuilding, because that was the time where you were just a bodybuilder. You weren't sponsored Instagram influencer, go travel all the time to go do it was Dorian Yates fucking going back to his home gym and just training all year round and getting ready for this one shot competition. And you always saw those guys came in. We talked about it in the podcast, how arguably the cameras and the lighting and everything was different back then, but I swear the use of the diuretics and everything, they just came in so much sharper.
Yeah, and it was a different look and a different time period. But so I think you mentioned you had one prep where you weren't able to get in shape, but for the most part, I think you even said you were still able to get in shape. It was just a bad prep for whatever reason. So have you ever really struggled to get in shape? Like to where you thought it wasn't going to happen?
I think that one in particular that we're speaking on, the first one I did was when I was 19. I had no clue what I was doing. I'd never been peeled before. I already knew I wasn't going to come in shape. And believe it or not, I actually over-dieted to the point where I started eating like shit leading into the show. But the last one, it was so short. And I think that the stress that it was putting on my body trying to diet that quickly, I just couldn't do it. I was losing muscle in the process.
But that was a quick diet, though, like you said. Here's the thing for me, man. I think I can speak a little bit to the situation that these pros are in. Maybe it's not the same, but with me, I have never been able to get in proper contest shape, what I would say so, at least. And it is not for a lack of trying. Like every contest prep I've done, I've never eaten a gram off of plan. If anything, I was doing too much cardio. If anything, on my first prep, I did more cardio than I was supposed to. I didn't do that the second time around. So I've been super adherent and done a 21, 22 week contest prep, and the end result is me not being as lean as I feel like I should have been. Now, we can go into that. I believe the approach was wrong. I was drugged into the ground. So it is not necessarily as easy as just, dieting straight for 16, 19 weeks, whatever it is. Because
absolutely.
For me, that approach doesn't work, and I know that now. I'm someone who I probably need refeeds every once in a while just to keep things moving.
I was just about to get into that. I know I hear different controversial versus refeeds don't do anything to the metabolism and this, that, and the other. Listen, at the end of the day, if you are doing full-time bodybuilding and you're paying a coach to adhere, oversee things for you, 20 weeks should be enough time to diet down.
I believe
there
so.
are variables that you can't control. There are, stressors in your life that might play a role. And the biggest thing that we've come to understand about fat loss is it's not as cut and dry as calories in, calories out. I know that's like, in layman's terms, that's the easiest way of putting it. Like, oh yeah, just eating a calorie deficit. But it all comes down to the body's response to that deficit, right? If your body's burning like a furnace, you're going to be able to lose weight on more calories. If your body all of a sudden gets doused with water, you got all these different things in your life, all of a sudden that diet is no longer going to work. Yep. Your body's going to reject, or it's going to start taking muscle instead of fat, which is why we utilize certain drugs like tren.
I think that's what happens to
anti-catabolic.
Even being on a stupid amount of tren, stupid amount of drugs, it feels like to me, and here's the thing, my food did not get that low then in this prep. I don't think my food got lower than 3,000, 3,500 calories on this.
I dieted on 3,000 roughly.
And I lost weight every single week too. That's the thing. It wasn't like there was a week where I didn't lose weight. I would lose a minimum a pound every single week. I started that contest prep at 231. I ended it, or the lowest point rather, was 185, I think, something like that. So I lost a shit ton of weight. So, but still that did not result in the proper look on stage. So I'm thinking for me, I am someone who I will eat through muscle, like you're talking about, and that is going to end up.
I was going to say, do you feel like your training performance diminished heavily?
Bro, I was getting this is something I was getting into on a podcast the other day. I'm a very strong presser. I've done on flat bench, reverse grip. I've done 450 for like 8. I'm a pretty strong presser.
Holy shit.
On incline press,
I believe
barbell, barbell incline press, I was moving 315 for sets of 10 to 12 at the start of prep.
Yeah, never in my life.
and this was communicated to my coach at the time, by the way. But about at the 6-week out mark, I had a leg workout where I was so flat and depleted, I literally could not, it felt like my legs were numb. They were just not attached to my body. But here's the thing: I didn't get a refeed for another 4 weeks or 5 weeks. I just kept getting drug into the ground, right? And
that's exactly where you got fucked.
Yeah, and
because the thing is we should maintain that training performance.
I'm about to tell you.
I will say, from the start of prep to the end of prep, I basically maintained just about every bit of strength I had. I
maintained that 315 for whatever up until about 6 weeks out, and then it started going, and I shit you not, man. By the time I was a week out, I was pressing.
Muscle's gone.
I was pressing 135 for my top set for 6, and my back off set was a 95. It was a 95 sets, a quarter on each side. Yeah, and no other muscle group lost strength that bad, but that was crazy.
And let me guess, were you utilizing T3? Because T3 just eats the muscle.
25 micrograms at most.
Okay.
So nothing crazy.
That's still absurd though, because that's where coaches have to be experienced, and not just experienced, but actually listen to their clients. Because if you're sticking to the plan and we're seeing a metric of progress that's correct, and then all of a sudden I say, oh well, I had half the strength that I normally have this week. Well, it sounds to me like physiologically you need a fucking refeed. It's not psychological, because you can have all the psychological discipline in the world and say, I don't need it.
Psychologically, if he told me to take a cheat meal before, basically I didn't get one until like a week or 2 out. By that point, I was just so fucked up. I was like, give it to me.
Sounds like Stevie.
But
he got fucked by his coach.
But at 6 weeks out, if I would have been told to take a refeed meal, I probably would have been like, can I not? Can I just have a little bit extra rice or something, because I feel like I'm not ready?
It's because you convince yourself that it's going to have detriment, but in all reality, training performance is the main driver for fat loss.
But that's what I'm getting at too, man. That's the old school approach, though. The old school approach, one of the old school approaches, is just fucking go dig for 16, 20 weeks straight. That just doesn't work with me. I'm not someone who can do that. We have guys like Samson. Typically, a lot of the Nigerian guys, you see this. You can't just run them into the ground. Someone who's like the bubbly look, right? And I'm not saying that's what I am, but those are the people.
They'll lose the factor that actually makes them look good.
Yeah, I lose all of my bubbliness when that happens. In terms of the spectrums of I guess you would say Dorian dry, and then Flex Wheeler bubbly. I feel like I am a little bit more on the bubbly side than I am on the hard and grainy side. So I don't know. I just don't think that I'm someone who can do that, and I'm hoping with.
I'm certainly not as bubbly. I think I'm on the opposite end of that. I think that's
you're the grain train. it's gnarly. I love that look. Like if I could
The
choose one or the other,
vascularity and the
yeah, you still have a bunch of fullness and like especially in your quads and things are round as fuck, but
yeah. But you know, it's a good thing you point that out because it's something that I've never even really analyzed. But when you look at physiques and you look at bodies, you do see there's a very large degree of variance when it comes to chiseled but more like square versus like super round but not as conditioned,
more bubbly. Yeah, and like
and they
for
have
you,
their own caveats of what they struggle with.
do you typically have like a
easy
water?
off season.
Yeah, do you have like a lot of water retention problems typically or no?
Like I said, this time, no. I mean, with the fact that I'm wearing the compression socks, the only thing I get, and I think it's funny because I was laughing to myself earlier, but I watched Stevie go like this, and you see all that white in the finger, and I'm like, oh, that's all that fluid in your knuckles when you're holding white right here and everything else is red. Yeah. So whenever he did that, I was like, oh yeah, we're all the fucking bloat goats here. We got all the all the water here. But
I'm a water buffalo is what I'm getting at. Like, dude, I went to bed last night. I think I was 242 when I went to bed, or maybe 243. I woke up at 2:30.
Yeah, that might be the same individuals who have more estrogenic problems than other people too.
But here's the thing: my estrogen will run high, but I won't get side effects from it. When we pull bloods, my E2 was 200, but I didn't have any gyno symptoms.
My E2 has shown up at 200 before, and I was like, "Holy fuck! Why don't I have tits right now?"
That's what Joe said to me.
I have the smallest little lump, but I'm like, I don't have gyno tits. Like, I mean, I have the little tiny pea-sized. You can't even see them. You know?
That's what Joe said to me. I almost thought
to myself too. Maybe I'm just not buff enough in my chest to have those huge gyno glands sticking out, but from what I can tell, I don't think I'm going to have the problem.
I feel like it's the other way around. I feel like the people who have the undeveloped chest, you can see the gyno more.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because whenever you get lean enough, it's just flat.
Because it's like if your chest is just so huge that it almost folds over, it's like it kind of hides it.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. It's funny because I mentioned to my girlfriend this. She was shaving my back one day, and we looked down, and I was like, "Oh wow, I'm finally like achieving status where my nipples are starting to look at the floor."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Holy shit, dude."
Yeah, mine will do that too. Which my chest has always been one of my better body parts. I've had that for a while. But one other thing with it too is, and then that's where I kind of get that from. Is I think the bigger your chest is, the less the gyno is present. Is because I've had gyno all my life. I had gyno at 12 just from puberty, and then the bigger
I'm fairly certain I did too.
Yeah, but I had it bad. Like I mean, I've probably shrunk it over the years with like letrozole and Nolvadex. But like I mean, it was bad. Like it was probably like I don't know, maybe like that or so.
Oh yeah.
And I'd say now it's probably done like that, but the bigger my chest gets, the more comfortable I feel with that because I feel like it goes away to a degree. That's like dude, that's like one of the main reasons I started working out and getting into bodybuilding was because of my puberty gyno.
Oh yeah,
I fucking hated that shit.
I don't know if I had it during puberty because the only time I became self-conscious of it was when I started dabbling with performance enhancements that could potentially cause gyno, and I was like, oh shit! And I thought I had gyno from
you were always
PEDs.
You were always leaner growing up, though, weren't you?
I was a pudgy. I mean, you know, we go through that.
But then you had that
where I lost the weight really quick. I turned 13, and then the puberty started to hit. I discovered bodybuilding, and one summer after football, I got in shape, and then sky's the limit. I went through my. I just saw a meme the other day. It was talking like it's 2015 and you're just signed up to bodybuilding.com and your username is strongkid78 and you're buying your mass gainer shakes, and I'm like, holy fuck, everybody lived the same life I did.
Back when bodybuilding.com was free.
1200 calorie shakes, dude. Oh yeah, when it was free, and oh man, like that was the time, dude.
It was. I miss forums, man. I'm still a part of some, but I wish they were more popular. Forums are awesome.
Yeah. Just to engage with other people.
Yeah, and like less stupid shit gets spread on, which that's I'm gonna word that differently. Less stupidity is allowed to flourish, depending on what it is in a forum setting, because it's there for everyone to see. It's not just DMs and conversations. It's a conversation, but it's a public conversation. It's a bit different.
It's there forever.
Yeah,
it's your digital footprint. So
yeah, for sure. But I think we're at an hour and a half here. Do you got more time, or do you want us to start wrapping it up?
I probably need to wrap it up because I know I got to go cook some ground beef for my next meal. But man, I've had Yeah, I got to walk. I got to eat. I got to do everything bodybuilders do, right? So
Exactly. Yeah, I got one more meal, and it's a Ninja Creamy, like Steve was talking about, dude.
Heck yeah,
man. Contest prep.
Oh, dude.
I didn't have it before. I've never had Retta. I've never had a Ninja Creamy in contest prep. Life is about to change. It's going to be beautiful come prep.
I have a Ninja Creamy, but I haven't become creative enough to turn my meal 5 into one. Because I asked Austin, I was like, "Hey, how do you feel about the Ninja Creamy?" He was like, "Well, if you use the ingredients for meal 5," I'm like, Greek yogurt and all this other. I don't know.
Ooh.
I can make something out of it.
I might give you a recipe real quick. So, what's your meal 5 look like? I think I can help here.
Okay, so he's got me doing Faya, I think is what it's called. I read it as phage, but apparently it's Faya Greek yogurt.
That's how I read it too.
300 grams of Faya Greek yogurt. It's 20 grams of whey protein, I guess, just to add some extra protein. 45 grams of peanut butter, 25 grams of honey. Then he's got me adding the fruit. So 150 grams of blueberries and strawberries, and then a side of 40 grams of dates now, and then Rice Krispies cereal.
So do you like thicker ice cream, or do you like a thinner?
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you on the thickness. I'm down with it. I'm down with the thickness, and I think you got a good recipe there, because I literally just do 500 milliliters of water and then 70 grams of protein from protein powder and like a little bit of Metamucil psyllium husk to make it thicker. You wouldn't even need to do any of that. For you add like 100 grams of a liquid of any kind to that. Put all that in the container. Put it in like a shaker bottle, blend it up, something like that. Put it in the creamy deposit tray or whatever you call it, and then just put all the dates, the fruits, and Rice Krispie on top. But like the honey, use
vanilla maybe, because that would go good with fruit.
And the peanut butter you could use as a topping, or you could just use it to make the creamy thicker. But all of that, the stuff that's not the fruit for the most part, you can just make that the creamy. That'd be
you're giving me a good idea now. That sounds good. Yeah. I might have to try that.
You'll just have to do that 24 hours in advance, or at least 12 hours in advance. That's the only thing.
That's where I'm so like lazy with it too, because I'm I got to prep that in advance. But I'll tell you, my other favorite meal that I've come to learn that I really enjoy, which I never liked before, cream of rice. I've always had a hate for cream of rice.
I'm a believer.
I guess it may have been the protein powder that I was using that I didn't like the flavor of. I'm using Equate protein now. I'm cheap as hell. The Walmart Equate protein is literally equivalent to whey protein gold standard. Same ingredients, same profile, whatever. But I'm doing chocolate whey protein, 50 grams with some cream of rice, and then you put in peanut butter, some banana, some honey, and here's the part that gets me.
That's my post-workout meal.
Eating it hot, I really don't care for. But if you put it in the fridge and then you eat it and it's the thick consistency, I'm going to have that in my next prep. Because
it's like a brownie batter. Yeah, it's like a dessert.
It's like
so
dessert.
Good. It's so good, man. And what I will do is that is exactly how I do my post-workout meal, the cold and everything. My pre-workout meal is cream of rice, whey, strawberries, blueberries. Okay, so the cream of rice, I'll just make regular. Except I don't do the microwave. I'll put it on the stove and make it that way.
Okay.
I'll make a shit ton of it. Like so it's 140 grams dry weight. I'll add like 700 grams of liquid, a little bit of baking powder, some no-calorie sweetener, cinnamon, stuff like that. Whip it up. That's the base, right? That goes into this big bowl. Then for my whey drip, I don't do a whey drip, and I think you're like me, so you'll like this. I do whey paste.
I've still never tried whey drip.
Don't do a drip.
Is that just a lot less water?
It's a lot more water. It's thin. I don't want that. It's almost like a.
Well, I think I'm speaking in matters of making the whey drip. You're instead of like a whey protein shake, are you using a lot less water to make it into a drip? Is that what I'm understanding?
So for a protein shake, you're going to do like 600 milliliters of water or something like that. For a whey drip, you're doing like 60.
Okay, so that's how they make that.
But most people, so let's say they have 100 grams of whey protein powder. Some people will do like 100 grams of liquid. If I have 100 grams of protein powder, I'm going to do 50 grams of liquid, and it makes this thick icing. And I'll put that on top of the cream of rice, and then I'll put the fruit on top of that.
That's wild.
It's so good.
I've never thought to try that, because when I see people posting their little videos now, ooh, the whey drip, I'm like, drink the protein shake, bro.
If I tried it, they'll try to pour it over, right? The whey drip. I can hold mine over like a blizzard. That's how thick it is.
Yeah, I won't even fall out.
Oh yeah, that's what I like.
That's
like,
cool.
Man, that's another reason I don't need to cheat on my diet. I have shit like this in it. Why would I ever cheat on my diet? I right now am anticipating eating my last meal of the day, which is an ice cream bowl with peanut butter on top of it, and then I'm anticipating further down the line waking up in the morning and having a big old bowl of sweetness with cake icing on it and fruit. And then after that, I basically get the same thing, but even better because it has honey and banana on it post-workout. Why would I ever cheat on my diet?
It's funny though, because I just had the cream of rice meal, and my next meal is ground beef, rice, and mango. That meal is my favorite. I don't. I tried the ground beef, rice, and pineapple, and I used to like chicken rice and pineapple. Would
slap.
But putting the mango in with some avocado oil. Oof. Oh, dude, it's so good. It's like I could eat this 6 meals a day. I really could, and just a little bit of salt makes all the difference. But it's weird because I love the bodybuilding foods. I do, and this is the first time I've had this much variety, and I'm like, okay. I kind of understand why people are all about wanting to have all these different flavorful food options, but I could still just as easily subscribe to the chicken and rice meal every single meal. But what I'm coming to realize, and where I struggled in the past, is in the off season. At 5,700 calories a day right now, I don't feel like I'm eating 5,700, and it's the way that he's incorporating these meals. Whereas before, I was just meat and rice, and that's sometimes hard to digest for 6 meals. Oh, absolutely. So this stuff is easy to put down.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, and my diet's not that fancy, but at the same time, like I'm kind of lazy, so like I don't mind it. Like I don't want to have 27 different ingredients. Like I'm doing rice, cream of rice, a few different types of fruit, chicken breast, turkey ground beef, whey. That's it.
Well, and you have time on your hands, at least more than I do, and that's the thing that I'm lazy about too, because I don't mind prepping the meat and rice meals that he's got me doing, but every single time I think I have 3 12s in a row that I have to get ready for, so I have to make 3 sets of 4 meals, because the only meal I get outside of work or before I go into work is my pre-workout meal, and that's first thing when I wake up. So I'm sitting there thinking I got to make a 6-ingredient bowl of Greek yogurt and whey protein. I'm like, oh, this is just... Yeah, but it's worth it once you get to enjoy it. But yeah, I'm such a
foodie. Lazy. I would love that too. But at the same time,
with the creamy.
I like both approaches. Basically, is what I'm getting at. I've done both. I like both. Yeah. But yeah, this was fun. It was awesome being able to chat with you guys again. We're at a little over an hour and a half here, so it's a good spot to wrap it. Anything you want to end with, or anything you want to shout out? Any Black Friday sales, affiliate codes?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I have my affiliates, but if they're interested, they'll find me on Instagram or YouTube. Yeah, man, it's been fun. I had a good time. I'd like to try to be on here more often, like I said, but just trying to figure out the time.
You got a busy life,
and then still trying to prioritize my girlfriend, because you know it's like she takes priority over a lot of things 100%. Right now, because I don't get that much time with her, and it just
absolutely. And like I
feel like a piece of shit if I'm like, hey, sweetie, I've got to go take an hour to talk to the boys, because not that I don't want to, but I'm like, he's got to go to bed, and I'm going to be up all night.
And I've said it off air, and I mean it. Like, all of this is by far the lowest priority. We're just doing this for fun. So, like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work at this time, we find another time. It's as simple as that. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this has been another episode of the Iron Obsession Podcast. If you made it to the last 5 minutes, drop a comment. I've seen several people do that lately. It's been really cool to get some interaction. So thank you guys for that. Thank you for watching. Check out all the links in the description below. Check out our social medias, and thank you for watching.